For this next exercise, I want to look at converting my price list into multiple currencies. In the previous exercise, we converted it into US dollars by using a named range or an absolute reference. But I want to show you something a bit clever about named ranges, where you can set multiple named ranges up at the same time. So if you had lots of different currencies, you wouldn't have to type them all into this little name box individually. You can get Excel to pick up text from a row or a column next to the data that you want to use. So for example, with this range here, I could highlight this little lot here, and this one would pick up USD and this one would pick up euros and so on. And then I can use all those values in my columns by using the name of the currency and just by typing it in. So first of all, what I'm going to do is highlight my range. Make sure you're on a tab called Formulas, and there's a whole section in the middle that's all about range names, setting them up and so on. And there's an option here called Create from Selection, and that's basically saying create names from the area that you've highlighted. Now it will try to detect where the text is that you want to use. Mine is in the bottom row. I don't want to use the stuff in the left column, so I'm going to deselect that. And when I say OK, if I want to check whether those have worked or not, this little name box here, as I choose each currency, can you see it's going to take me to the correct cell automatically? Now, what that means is when I do my formulas, I can pick up the correct exchange rate for each column. So for this one, I'm going to say equals the price in GBP multiplied by, I could type USD, or if you like a keyboard shortcut, you can use F3 on your keyboard, or if you've got a slightly different laptop from me, you might have to use function and F3, and then your list of exchange rates will come up, and I'm going to go for USD, and then it's picked up this cell automatically. When I enter that, it's done my correct calculation, and if I double click the little corner, it should fill that all the way down. And basically, I'm going to go and do that for each of my currencies. So I'm going to say the GBP value times F3 to find the right currency, choose the currency I want, enter it, copy it down, and so forth. And I'll just do these couple more here. I'm just going to do one more to get my Canadian dollars. And what that means now is if one of my exchange rates were to change, all I've got to do is enter the new value in the cell up here, and the whole column will update automatically. Now, last time we looked at rounding. We did the rounding in a separate column, and what I would like to do is I would like to do the rounding as part of the same formula. So we're going to do a slightly more complicated formula. I'm just going to double click on my USD formula, and just to click between the equal sign and the first cell reference, and I'm just going to type in the first few letters of the function that I want, which is one called round up. And then when I double click on round up, can you see it's put equals round up and then a bracket? So the formula that we've created is going to go in a section called number. And then at the end there, I'm going to put in a comma. And then it's asking me how many digits I want, which is basically how many decimal places do you want to see, or how many decimal places do you want it to round to? I want it to round to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to put 2. If you wanted it to be a whole number, you could put 0. And then I'm just going to close my brackets at the end. And if I copy that down, you'll see that it's rounded it up. Now, when I format this as a currency, I'm just going to go back to my home tab and actually use something called accounting and say English United States. Everything is nicely rounded to 2 decimal places, and I would then go through and do that same formula for my other 3 currencies. I'll just do it one more time. So I'm going to go into the euro one, double click on it, make sure my cursor is just after the equal sign, type in the first few letters of the one that you're looking for. So in my case, ROU, and I'm going to go for round up. Double click on round up until you get equals round up and a set of brackets. Right at the end, I'm going to put in a comma, and it moves me from number to number of digits, and the number of digits I want is 2. And then I'm going to close the brackets, and that's now rounded my exchange rate price to 2 decimal places, and I can format that as a euro from here. Now, just for speed, imagine that I've done rounding for yen and Canadian dollars, because what I would like to show you is if I want to show yen, if I look on this little drop down, you can see that obviously it's not there. But if I go into where it says more accounting formats, there is an option that allows you to change the symbol. So I can scoot until I can find Japanese yen. I'm not sure what order they're in. I've never quite got my head around that. See if I can find Japanese yen. There we go. And then I get my little yen symbol. Now, Canadian dollars is a little bit of an issue because I don't really want to use a dollar symbol because I've already used that for US dollars. So what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to use the abbreviation CAD. Now, you can't normally type in an abbreviation because it makes that column text then, and then you can't do any calculations on it. But if you go to more accounting formats, underneath all the symbols, there starts another list, which is all the abbreviations. And actually, if I just click on one and just type in the first letter of the one that I'm looking for, as it happens, Canadian dollars is the first one that begins with a C. So I just typed in the letter C and it found it for me automatically. And now I've got that abbreviation, but it will still calculate because it isn't storing it as text, it's storing it as a format. The other thing I wanted to mention whilst we're here is that you might want to set up a style so that you don't have to keep looking for yen or keep looking for Canadian dollars whenever you need them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it on the GBP column. I'm just going to say, well, I like to have a pound sign and 2 decimal places. Maybe I will do something like, I don't know, put a background colour on and a border style on just to make it really obvious what's going on here. And then that is, let's say, an example of how I would like my GBP values to look. And there's an option here called Cell Styles. And these are all kind of preset cell styles that Excel gives you, but you can set up your own however you like. So I'm going to choose where it says New Cell Style, and I'm just going to call it GBP, and then choose OK. And what that means is if I've got my column selected, when I go to that cell styles option, at the top here, there's an option called Custom Now, which has got my GBP value in it. And when I choose that, it will format all of my GBP values the same, font style, size, etc., etc. I'm just going to do that one more time, let's say for my USD column. So I'm going to say, make it dollars this time. Maybe I'll have a slightly different color and I'll have borders. And then I'm going to go cell styles, new cell style. Let's call it USD. And when I choose OK, I should be able to highlight this whole area here and apply my USD USD style. Now imagine I've done that for each of my different currencies, and then I would like to reuse one of these currency values somewhere else. Doesn't have to be on the same sheet, could be in a new sheet. I'm just going to pop into a different sheet over here, and let's say I'll just put some random old figures in, and then I want these to be in my USD style. I should be able to just pick them from my list. Now, the joy of having set it up as a style is you can change your mind very easily. So if you think, well, actually, I don't really like that shade of green, and you've used it 50 times all over your spreadsheet, you can just modify the style. If you hover over the style, when you right mouse, there's a modify option. And when you go into format here, you can change any of the formatting. I'm going to change the fill colour just to make it really obvious. I'll make it, I don't know, purple or something. And what it means is it's now updated every cell that contained the USD cell style to purple. And if I go back to the original sheet, you can see it's changed it there. The only place it will not have changed it is the example cell, because I didn't set that up with the style, but just to make it uniform, I'll add that on as well. Now I'm going to do that one more time just for an example. So let's say I'll do it with my euros. I'm going to set my euro style up with the background colour that I want. I'm going to go for blue and borders. I'm going to go cell style, new cell style. I'm going to call it euro. This time I will remember to apply the euro style, even though it doesn't make it look any different, just for the example. And then I can apply that cell style to everywhere where I've used euros. And now it should be obvious because they're going to all have different background colour, etc. Then at some point in the future, I go, oh, I don't really like that blue. It's a bit dark. I'd like a lighter shade of blue or what have you. I can go cell style, right mouse over the euro style, go modify, format, and maybe choose a different colour. And then when I say OK to it, everywhere in the spreadsheet that I've used that particular style will update all at once. It's a really good habit to get into in Excel. It's also a really good habit to get into in things like Word, so that you have completely uniform formatting all the way through your workbook. Now, come back on the next exercise and we will look at slightly more complicated spreadsheets where maybe you don't have the currencies coming in the same order every month. So rather than you having to set them up manually, you want to use maybe a lookup table to go and find the exchange rate and work out which exchange rate to use for you. Come back on the next video and I'll show you how to do that.